I was wrong about that lamp. It's actually all aluminum. I was saying it was brass. Shoot, that really looks like aluminum. Or I mean, that really looks like brass. That's just a cast aluminum. I had said in a past video this was a brass lamp, and that has such a brassy look to it. I didn't even check it, but it's definitely all aluminum. That's still a great piece of aluminum, but it's cast aluminum. You can tell just by looking at it. You see how that looks in there? That's a cast aluminum. So, well, that really looks like brass. I didn't even bother scratching it. "11 years, and there it is." That's how hard it is to tell sometimes. I mean, I hit it with a magnet and I didn't even scratch it. So, for those of you that don't know, that is the way to test. If you hit it with a magnet and it doesn't stick, you can still scratch it and find out if it's brass or aluminum. I've just seen so many lamps like that were brass. I should have known when I hit the magnet up here and it was tin. I should have known the rest of it wouldn't have been brass. It was probably aluminum. Anyways, I figured I'd tell you about that. On my way to the scrapyard, getting a load together. Little light fixture action, fluorescent lights. Nice ballast. It was in here. I wasn't recording. Now I am. Has some nice bits of aluminum. It's a little different than a typical fluorescent light fixture. That's why I didn't turn the camera on. This is kind of different. I had these aluminum sheets here on each side, and very little tin metal actually. Generally, this would just be a big piece of tin all the way across. Anyways, nice little ballast, nice wires. I wish they were all like this. Specifically for me, that would be wonderful. I got my lunch in there, I gotta be careful. I need to get a cup holder hooked up to my bike somewhere. That'll make it a lot better. Little piece of aluminum. It's actually real lightweight, but I'll take it. Well, it's not going to work anymore. Should have had it down there to begin with, I guess. It's actually glass. I'm not a total cheapie. That's an odd looking machine. Some kind of pipe layer of some sorts, maybe. Big steel pipes laid up in there with an arm grabbing it. That's a weird looking deal. I bet it's like an irrigation machine. What do you think? Oh wait, universal horizontal directional drilling. That guy needs a muffler. Horizontal drilling machine. I can't say that I've ever seen one of those before. I guess that whole thing is going to be like the drill shaft, maybe. And they put it together in sections and drill horizontally. That's pretty slick. If I'm seeing that right. What do we got here? Oh, hey, that might be juicy stuff. Let's see. Sunlight's probably in your eyes. I think this whole thing is filled up with juicy wire. Take me a while to get that out of there, but this is what's in there. It's gonna be a giant grip of this stuff. Real high quality, number 2 insulated. I could probably even get number 1 for that at 1 yard. So I'm actually going to stuff that down here for just right now, because we have very little light left. I don't have my flashlight, so I'm gonna show you some more stuff, and then I'm gonna come back for that later. That's worth coming back for. It's gonna take me a while to get all that out of there. There might be more down in there too. It's gonna be a lengthy job, I think. Oh shoot, there's just all over the place. I said it like it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing when you're trying to make a video and you don't have your flashlight and you only have 20 minutes of good light left. Oh yeah. I don't think anyone's going to grab that by the time it takes me to get back here. That's a nice grip just right there by itself. I found this pair of sunglasses laying on the street the other day. They're polarized. They're a lot nicer than I thought they were. They're not a name brand, they're just a cheapie, but they're polarized and they're actually quite excellent. If you can get a look at that or not. Look at that funky little couch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wear just a normal pair of sunglasses again or not. Polarized. It's just wonderful. Kind of like that couch. That reminds me of like a big pistachio or something. That's a nice little deal. Shoot, you know what? I think that thing folds down into a little bed too. It does. I'm not sure how to do it there. Look at that. That thing is just slick. What do you think about that? I like that a lot. How heavy is it? I could probably take that if I really wanted. It's not that heavy. That would be nice to have camping, wouldn't it? Just set that up and sit by the campfire or lay it down and go to sleep. I might have to come back and get that as well. That's in really great shape. I constantly get questions about these cans. People say, why don't you dig them out of the garbage and whatnot? And well, and, you know, they see me pick up like a penny off the ground and take it, and they say, well, you take pennies, not you take cans. Well, because there's a difference. Like, see, I just picked those cans up off the ground. It took just 1 or 2 seconds. Digging a can out of a garbage dumpster, you know, if it takes 10 seconds, you're looking at making $3, $4, $5 an hour if you did that all day long. Right there, I mean, that's that right there is worth let's see, 60 cents, 70 cents or so. So that's about 50 pop cans where I live, right there, and it took me 2 seconds to grab it. To get 50 pop cans out of a dumpster, you're talking about maybe an hour. If you have to dig for them and find them and stuff. I mean, or a half hour, I don't know. You get my point though. There's something I constantly see people talking about in the comments section. That's really maybe something that you can't understand unless you actually go out and do it. In layman's terms, if you will. The best way I can put it is why picking up cans is such a bad idea. Even if you're getting 5 cents a piece for them, deposit, that's still a bad idea, because what I'm doing here are hitting these dumpsters en masse. I mean, if there's nothing else for you to get, then sure, take them, but skipping them and just hitting a lot of dumpsters. Say I make $30 in the next hour dumpster diving for valuable stuff. When it comes to that can conversation, would you rather go out right now and make $30 in the next hour? Or would you rather go out for 2 hours and make $34? That's the best way I could put it. Would you rather work for an hour and make $30, or you want to go out for 2 hours and make $34? That's my point. That's the best way I can put it. Then some people might say, well, I'd rather make $34 in 2 hours. Well, my point is, if you go out and make $30 in that hour, then you have the whole next hour to have a shot at making another $30. So you might make $60 in 2 hours. I find myself constantly having to explain that to people. Picking up cans is extremely, extremely counterproductive. And that's just counterproductive as far as money. They're just filthy and disgusting and gross, and the first time you get chew tobacco on your clothes or your hands and you smell it, and all the nasty stuff and rotten, foul, it's disgusting. So I mean, if you have contacts like restaurants and bars and stores or other people, or you know, you save up the cans that you drink yourself at home. I mean, of course it makes sense to do that. You know, if you have someone saving up a big bag of them for you, and you just pick up the big bag every now and then, that makes sense, of course, but taking cans one by one that you just find in the garbage, it's just no good. If you see me skip a can, I'm not missing out on money. I'm actually gaining a ton more money by not even messing with them. And it sounds ridiculous, but back to my point, you want to make $30 this next hour, or do you want to make $34 in the next 2 hours? You know, there's just no way around that fact. Now, I might not make $30, but you know my point. I mean, would you rather make $10 in the next hour or $14 in the next 2? You know, would you rather make $100 in the next hour or $104 in the next 2 hours? I guess that's actually another really good way to look at it, is to make $4 in an hour picking up cans. I would need to pick up about 240 individual cans. 240 of these in an hour to make $4 an hour. I mean, think about how many that is. 240 cans, one by one in an hour. That's extremely difficult work. And it's disgusting and gross, and it's basically the hardest work you'd probably ever do in your life. And I know that from experience, and it's a fact. And you're looking at about $4 an hour. 240 cans in 60 minutes. Think about that. That's 4 cans a minute for an hour. It's 240. So I guess my point is, if you focus in on cans, even if they're 5 cents deposit, if you focus on those, you absolutely limit yourself to a set amount of money, and that's a low amount of money. If you're picking them up one by one, doing what I'm doing, skip them, find something better to do. This old CRT TV, you could screw the back off of that and scrap that properly. I have a video about how to scrap those properly. I'll link it up in the description if you want to check it out. There's nice pieces of copper in there and some other stuff. Little skibble scabble, you get a couple bucks out of that. You know, skip them cans and do stuff like that where you actually will make some money. And I'm sure, actually thinking about it now, there's skipping that CRT TV, while I say you can make better money doing that. You know, like, well, why did I just skip it? Because I know how much money I'm gonna make from doing that, and I know that I can't keep showing it every time on video because no one wants to keep watching the same thing. And I might see, I mean, I'll see a ton of those every time I go out and do this. Those CRT TVs and monitors, they're all over the place, and it gets boring for people to watch. And I'm absolutely bored with scrapping them myself. I skip them all the time now. That's because, you know, there might be $3 in each one, like that size I just passed up. But I know for a fact that the time it takes me to sit there and do that, not to mention I'm on someone else's property, but that's really not that big of a deal. Just the time it takes me to do something like that, I can just take that time and go down the road and just keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll make that same amount of money. I mean, that's why I skip that stuff. I might make even more money. Time is a factor that a lot of people that make comments about micro scrapping and making small amounts of money and doing things where you're going to make just a set amount of small money. It's the time factor. That time factor, it gets tricky if you haven't actually come out and done this and thought about it in those terms. It goes back to how I started this conversation, picking up a penny off the ground as opposed to picking up a 1.5 cent can, taking the time to get in here. I mean, look at that, it's just disgusting. It's got funk all over it, and it took me a while to get in there. I mean, there's another can over there I'm gonna have to mess with and dig that out, and there's probably another one over there. And I get a few cans out of here in a couple minutes, you know, digging around. It's just, it goes back to my original, how I got blabbering about this to begin with. If I pick a penny up off the ground, that's not a penny, but if I pick a penny up off the ground, it takes a second or two. In a second, that's $36 an hour. If it took me 2 seconds, that's $18 an hour. You know, and if I pick a few cans up, you know, 5 cents, 10 cents worth of cans out of a dumpster in a few minutes, that's nowhere near $18 an hour. You know, you're talking about half of poverty level wage. It's the time factor. It takes time to collect cans. Time is the factor. Time is the real commodity. Money is basically fairy dust. I hope you enjoyed riding along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching. Came back up here to get this stuff. It's gonna be a bigger job than I thought. There's so many little clamps holding those things in there. What I might do is just see if I can cut the wire out of these things and then just pull them out of here, because that's too big of a job for the amount of money it's gonna be worth. Those wires are juicy. I'll show it to you here in a second. There's the haul. It's about 15 pounds, give or take. And it's real good, high quality stuff. I should get #1 for it at a yard, even though it's braided. That's just such a high content. So that's probably $15 worth of copper wire there, insulated copper wire. Little lighting fixture. Got one of those little pieces of conduit out. What I did was I cut the ends off of these wires, as you can see, and I just pulled all those wires out of these long deals. And in there was also a bungee cord. Okay, now thanks for watching.